Please stand silently for a moment of reflection and respect.
Tonight, a community coming together at the first Northwestern home football game of the year.
This is Northwestern local schools return to the classroom today, 3 days after a deadly school bus crash killed one of its elementary students, 11-year-old Aiden Clark. Grief counselors were on hand for students and staff was trained on how to best support them. In all, 22 students were taken to the hospital after the deadly bus crash. Right now, the district posted on Facebook saying all students have now been treated and released. The district also saying a big thank you to the county commissioner, or I should say administrators, and members of the Clark County Sheriff's Office who rode on the buses with students today to make sure that everyone felt safe and supported. Ohio State Highway Patrol followed behind the buses on their route to make sure they got to school safely as well. Parents even lined the route to wave on the buses in support. Now, the district also announcing this afternoon classes are canceled for Monday, so students and staff can attend the funeral of 11-year-old Aiden Clark.
And tonight, the Warriors took the football field. It's their first game since Tuesday's tragedy. Gwyneth Falloon was at Taylor Field with a look at the turnout.
The turnout tonight, it was incredible, but honestly, you could still feel the heaviness from the tragedy on Tuesday, but it was the love and the support that gave the team and the community to get through the night.
Our deepest sympathies go out to the students and their families. We commend the heroic actions and courage of the bus driver, all of the first responders, and school personnel at the scene. Please stand silently for a moment of reflection and respect.
A deafening silence as the Northwestern Warriors stepped onto the field Friday after an unimaginable week.
We're continuing to grieve, but we're also starting the healing process.
Just 3 days ago, 11-year-old Aiden Clark was killed in a school bus crash minutes away from the start of his first day of school.
Just like everyone else in the community, I'm feeling the loss, the impact.
The Warriors playing their first home game of the season.
In the middle of all that tragedy, you couldn't help but see the good in people that kept coming up.
A stadium full of people dressed in Northwestern's red, white, and blue colors, the opposing team wearing NW stickers, and rival fans with Warrior strong pins.
It's the least we could do.
Opponents on the field, but family and friends off.
I reached out to Jesse numerous times. Our nurses were over, our mental health therapist, our SRO, just to be there to support them in any way that we can.
Win or lose, Friday's game means more than just a final score as the community rallies around a single message: Warriors strong, stronger together.
We are stronger together. This is a time where we need to just love each other, be there for each other, and pick each other up.
The district.
That was Gwyneth Falloon reporting. Now, Ohio Governor Mike DeWine announced today that the new school bus safety task force will soon be announced following the fatal bus crash in Clark County.
Statistically, riding a school bus is safe. We know it's safer than being in a car. We know it's safer than virtually any other form of transportation. But maybe we can make it safer, and that's what we want to look at.
DeWine stated that adding seatbelts to school buses are one of the things that the task force is looking into. However, they will be looking at every available option, such as new inspections and requirements for bus drivers. The governor also explained, depending on the recommendations from the task force, he may require help from the state legislature to apply the settings. Of course, we'll continue to update you more on this story as more information about the task force is revealed.
Now, we've been keeping you up to date throughout this tragedy on air and online. We'll continue to do so as we learn any new information in the coming days, weeks. You can find all of our coverage right now in one place. That's at Dayton247now.com.
Another announcement made today by Governor DeWine. He's sending state resources to Clark County to help cut down on violent crime.
The whole focus is going after violent criminals who are using guns. Violent criminals who are not supposed to have guns, but do in fact have guns.
Governor DeWine calls the use of these resources a, quote, surge. In last night's surge, there were 5 felony arrests, 8 people who had warrants taken into custody, and 8 parole violators who were taken off the street. Another one taking place in Clark County tonight.
Dispatchers from Clark County and the city of Springfield will now share the same facility that is named after 2 fallen deputies from the area. Lydia Bice has been following this today, shares who is being honored at today's event.
Today, Clark County and City of Springfield officials dedicated the new Clark County 911 Communications Center in memory of Deputy Suzanne Hopper and the 911 Training Center in memory of Deputy Matthew Yates. Deputy Yates, who was killed last year, and Deputy Suzanne Hopper, who was killed in 2011, were honored at the dedication with family members and friends in attendance. Governor DeWine was also in attendance and called the new facility, quote, state of the art.
Having a center like this is just so very, very important. Communication, coordination, the city, the county, the other jurisdictions, literally having them in one room is just a huge, huge advancement.
Now, Tracy Yates, the wife of fallen Deputy Matthew Yates, said that it was an honor to see this center dedicated for Matt and Suzanne, and said that it, quote, shows how great of a community we have here. Now, if you would like to hear more reaction from city and county officials, or if you'd like to learn more about the new 911 Communications Center in general, head to this story on our website, Dayton247now.com.
Lydia, thank you. One person is dead tonight after an officer-involved shooting in Salina earlier this morning. According to the Ohio BCI, officers responded to reports of a vehicle parked in Eastview Park after hours. Now, it's unclear at this time what actually led up to the shooting. Thankfully, no officers or anyone else were hurt. This does remain under investigation tonight.
Former President Donald Trump says he had a, quote, terrible experience while being booked in Georgia. Trump is now the first U.S. president to have his mugshot taken after he surrendered at the Fulton County Jail yesterday on election interference charges. In an interview on Newsmax following his arrest, the former president described the process as uncomfortable while also denouncing his other legal struggles.
I went through an experience today that I never thought I'd have to go through, but yet I've gone through the same experience 3 other times. In my whole life, I didn't know anything about indictment, and now I've been indicted like 4 times.
Now, apart from his 13-count indictment in Georgia, Trump has also been arrested and booked on criminal charges in Manhattan, Florida, and Washington, D.C. And the former president claims every criminal indictment against him only drives his poll numbers up, but that trend may be fading. A new Political magazine poll finds most Americans, 61%, believe Trump should stand trial on his efforts to overturn the election before the 2024 election. Half the country believes he's guilty of the pending prosecutions, despite his claims of it being a witch hunt. A third say a conviction would make them less likely to support him.
Tonight, we know all 19 co-defendants in the Georgia election interference indictment met the DA's noon deadline today to turn themselves in. After former president was booked last night, 7 more co-defendants turned themselves in this morning. All but 1 were free to go after booking. Harrison Floyd didn't negotiate bond ahead of time and had a prior arrest. Next, the judge will set arraignments for each of them in the coming weeks. They can either waive their arraignment or enter a plea.
All right, as we head into the weekend, we're still talking about the weather. It is still, as we call it, gross, and it could be worse, I guess.
I mean, yeah, it could be worse. It's nasty, but it's not what it was yesterday. Or, yeah. I mean, honestly, today was pretty bad too, but not going to be that anymore. So you can see here our low pressure by these wind barbs is slowly shifting away. So we have a more northwesterly flow. That'll help keep us, quote unquote, cooler for the next couple of days while still getting in the 80s, but we won't be seeing those exacerbably high temperatures. 77 right now in Dayton, 76 in Springboro, and 73 out towards Greenville. So finally dropping below that 80-degree mark across the area. And we do have a cool down coming like we were talking about. Again, tomorrow still going to be pretty warm, upper 80s. Humidity will still be there, but should not be as severe as it was today. Today, humidity was in the upper 70s to low 80s. That is very uncomfortable and soupy. Tomorrow, upper 60s, maybe right around 70. So then Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, we'll have temperatures hovering right around that 80-degree mark, and dew points will be lower as well.
Tim, thank you. A standoff on Ontario Avenue in Dayton tonight, just wrapping up within the last hour. Montgomery County dispatchers confirming that standoff involved a guy with a warrant out for his arrest. Our crews are still there working to learn more. As we get any new information, We'll update you on air and online at Dayton247now.com.
As we head back into school, COVID numbers are now on the rise here in Ohio. Abby Forbes has been learning about what this strain has in store.
As you can see, the number of cases in Ohio is 5,361 as of yesterday. Now, this is more than 1,000 more than the average of cases reported in the last 3 weeks. When it comes to symptoms and looking out for this variant, a doctor explained that while in the past there have been very unique or specific identifying symptoms, this one presents very similarly to the flu.
Kind of presents like a viral illness. A little weird to be getting a viral illness that kind of hits you almost like a flu this time of summer.
As for a new booster, the CDC said they anticipate it being available for most people by mid to late September. And COVID isn't the only disease out there this season. There's the pneumonia, flu, strep, RSV, and I'm reminded that good practices like washing hands, eating healthy, staying home when sick are very important to protect against all of these. For Dayton 24/7 Now, I'm Abby Forbes. Back to you.
Safety organizations around the Miami Valley pushing drivers to stay safe on the roads. What they're doing to deter drunk drivers from being behind the wheel.
And a postal worker robbed. Now police say they've caught the man who did it. How they connected the suspect to the crime next.
And we'll take a look at whether you'll need an umbrella at all or whether we'll be staying dry. Your full forecast is coming up. You're looking at your Eco Plumber Skycam. You're watching Dayton 24/7 Now. I'll get back to it.
A Central Ohio police chief taking to Facebook giving a statement on a deadly officer-involved shooting. Now, Blenheim Township Police Chief John Belford says officers were told a woman was shoplifting from a Kroger on Thursday. Belford says the woman, later identified as 21-year-old Takaya Young, was in a car with no license plate in the handicap spot of the store. He says body-worn camera video, which has not been released yet, shows the officers ordering Young out of the car more than a dozen times. He then says Young put the car into gear and accelerated forward. An officer directly in the path of the car then fired one shot through the front windshield. Young and her unborn baby later died. The Ohio BCI is now investigating.
Alrighty, currently across the area, dry for us. We have a few light showers that tried to hold together, but they kind of fell apart, and we're expecting much of the same through the night. Now, pulling out here, you can kind of see some severe weather as you head back toward Illinois and Indiana, but not expecting anything from this. And some storms to our south have kind of puttered out for the night. Temperatures only dropping into the low 70s to upper 60s for most of us tonight. Going to be a mild one, and then upper 80s to mid 80s again tomorrow. Humidity still there, but not as intense as it was today. Sunday morning, again starting off mild, temperatures in the upper 60s. Moving through the day though, only topping out in the low 80s to upper 70s. So a comfortable day on Sunday, and once again staying dry across the area. Moving into Monday, things look like they get a little bit cooler too. We once again will see a couple degrees cooler, humidity will be lower, and temperatures in the upper 70s.
Mad River local schools hosting their annual day of giving back. The district handed out more than 1,500 book bags to local families. Now each of them contain notebooks, folders, crayons, pencils, erasers, and everything else students need for their first day of school.
For us, it's just a great opportunity to be with our families today, talk to them about the first day of school, and make sure that they have the supplies to come to school on the first day to be successful with.
The giveaway is in partnership with Cranston Classrooms and Hope for Riverside. If you weren't able to make it out today, don't worry. Mad River Schools will have some extra backpacks at open house next week.
Multiple agencies teaming up to encourage safe driving today. The Ohio State Highway Patrol, AAA, and Greene County Sheriff's Office highlighting the Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over campaign.
People like to get out and enjoy the summer. With summer comes outdoor activities, and unfortunately a lot of those activities, and it's not wrong, but it could include drinking. You just have to do it responsibly. Make plans ahead of time, because you're not only affecting your life, you can be affecting the life of somebody else and their family as well.
So extra patrols will be out through early September to help deter drunk drivers.
A mail carrier robbed on camera, and now a month later, police say the man who did it is behind bars. The U.S. Postal Inspection Service investigated for weeks, staking out the suspect's home and a friend's home, even tracking his car. Luke Jones explains how they were able to connect this back to him and the smoking gun evidence investigators say they found.
July 12th, Cliffside Drive in Coleraine Township. This mail carrier is dropping off some letters when a man in a hoodie comes running up with a gun.
Oh my God, here. Yes, you can have them all, here.
These photos from surveillance cameras show him cutting through backyards as he makes his way to this house about a half-mile away. He's seen walking into the driveway and then past a fence. Investigators get some tips, which leads them back to this black Dodge Charger, which they learn belongs to a man by the name of Lamarion Gray. Monday, they get a warrant to search the car, and inside they say they find items used to commit that robbery, including a handgun barrel and a pair of gloves. Inside the gloves, they find a Postal Service arrow key and Postal Service vehicle keys. In Coleraine Township, I'm Luke Jones.
All right, here's a live look from our Eco Plumber Skycam. It is still very, very hot, Tim. Is it going to cool down? I know it's not getting colder, but can it cool down?
Yes, it's going to cool down. It's still going to be warm tomorrow, though. But if you want to get out and enjoy it, it'll be a little humid, but it's better. it's going to be better. Your Harley-Davidson of Xenia ride forecast right there for you. 7-day forecast, though, we do have a cooling trend on the way. Temperatures hovering right around that 80-degree mark for much of this week. Looks like Sunday, right around 80, maybe a couple degrees cooler on Monday. But Wednesday looks to be, for now, the coolest day with temperatures in the mid to upper 70s. And we'll start seeing some nighttime lows in the 50s as well, which will help keep us a little bit cooler as well. But long-term forecast shows this cooling trend. And then after next Friday, we possibly get warm again.
Well, I have to say, Mother Nature did give her best effort, but she did not stop week 2 of high school football.
She definitely did not. A lot of games tonight.
Yeah, we do. Scores and highlights from around the Miami Valley coming up next to Donald Football Friday. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now. Welcome to week 2 of Donato's Football Friday. Thank you for joining us. I'm Matt Digby, joined by Adam Arrow. And Adam, as I just mentioned a couple seconds ago, Mother Nature did her best, and there was debate. And in fact, a couple games were pushed back because of the heat and the humidity concerns. But we did have football tonight.
It is football that goes on. It plays almost no matter what. It would take almost an act of God to stop football. It's back, week 2.
It is week 2, and we have a lot to get to tonight. It started with our game of the week. Valley View at Milton Union, a rematch from last year's regional championship game. The Spartans won then. How would tonight play out? Bulldogs received the opening kickoff taken by Peyton Mayfield. He runs into traffic in the middle, but cuts to his right and finds some space down the near sideline. Plenty of space. He's able to outrun everybody to the end zone. Milton Union on the board first, leading 7-0. But Valley View's first drive, Caden Henson with time looking right. Deep ball caught in stride by Jed Lynch, and the Spartans tied the game at 7-7. A pivotal play here on the Bulldogs' next drive. They're just past midfield, but a fumble recovered by Valley View, and that's where the Spartans would start to gain the momentum, as on that ensuing drive, they move into Bulldog territory. Lynch takes the ball looking for an opening, and an opening does appear. Lynch finding the end zone. Spartans are in front 14-7. Valley View then forces a punt. They get the ball back. Henson rolling left, but two Milton Union defenders combined for the sack. Evan Michael and Carson Stone with the stop. But later on that drive, Henson with a short throw left to Caleb Musgrove, who heads to the sideline and stays in bounds, breaking the plane. Touchdown Valley View as the Spartans win on the road. Final score 60-7. Valley View moves to 2-0.
The Greene Knights, they travel to Northwestern to take on the Warriors. A lot of emotions in this game tonight. The Warriors on offense, Reed Smith, short pass to Miles Estes for a first down to avoid a turnover, but Northwestern unable to make something happen. Greene's Nathan Hartling then gets the sack.
Nice
Big
play for
sack
Greene.
there. Score still not at zeros here. Warriors back on offense. Smith to Brandon Moore for the first down. Nice play there, breaking off some tackles. One play, final play before the half. The Knights looking to put up some points on the board. The ball intended for Hunter O'Dell, but great interception. My goodness, did he climb a ladder? Mingy Swoops with the interception. Now, Northwestern gains momentum in the second half here. They win big, 34-0, and obviously a very emotional game and an emotional week for that community.
Trotwood taking on Fairmont at Roush Stadium. Rams have the 25-8 lead in the third quarter, and they continue that momentum on offense. Tim Carpenter III going deep to Armani Rogers, and he will not be caught down the sideline for about a 70-yard touchdown. Trotwood Madison increases the lead to 32-8. So that fan, he might be sound asleep, but I'm sure he's pretty excited by the score for the Rams. Fairmont now with the ball on fourth down, but the ball comes loose, rolls out of bounds. That means a turnover on downs. Trotwood gets the ball back. Michael Smith picks up around 20 yards on this gain, able to break some tackles. And then in the fourth down situation, Carpenter rolling to his right, finding Armani Rogers all by himself in for the touchdown as the Trotwood Madison Rams get their first win of the year, 38-8 the final. And that sets them up nicely for a big matchup next week when they host the Springfield Wildcats. More scores from week 2 coming up if we can get them. Yes, we do. Troy, we will be there next week for Thursday Night Lights. They are now 2-0 after a big win on the road at Greenville. Miamisburg and Belleville going down to the wire, 14-10. The Vikings come out on top. And Sydney with a home win, 28-14 against the Stebbins Indians. We're going to take a quick break. You're watching Football Friday, but first, say hello to the Milton Union cheerleaders.
You're watching Football Friday on Dayton 24/7 now. Let's go!